Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. And you can watch this program live on our Facebook page. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can catch up this program or episode later in the evening through our YouTube channel. And you can catch this program live on our audio streaming at Evox PBS receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
A major political storm is now unfolding following the explosive expose of former Ako Bicol Representative Saldico alleging large-scale corruption and massive budget insertions in government. It all started when President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. exposed in his State of the Nation address in July of the corruption happening in the flood control projects as typhoons and inclement weather easily damage the flood mitigating infrastructure, which was supposed to be people's defense against natural calamities. And President Marcos Jr. called out personalities in public and private construction firms behind the corrupt practices in infrastructure projects to be ashamed of themselves for the mess they have created, which cost properties and even lives of people. And fast forward, recently, former Ako Bicol Representative Zaldico released an online expose alleging massive corruption involving high-ranking officials. The resigned party list lawmaker claimed that he personally delivered suitcases of cash to President Marcos Jr. and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez, which the chief executive denied such accusations, and he further said that he would not dignify that claim. Also, the Presidential Communications Secretary Dave Gomez, in support of the president's statement, publicly advised the lawmaker to come home, sign under oath, and face the music or face those charges that was filed against him. From yesterday until Tuesday, meanwhile, one of the largest religious group in the Philippines, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, has organized 3-day rally with the theme Transparency for a Better Democracy, which calls for an accountability, and that's amid the ongoing flood control corruption scandal. And INC asserts the rally is not anti-government but focused on condemning corrupt individuals and pushing for transparent governance. And to help us understand its political impact and implications for governance, we're now joined today by respected political analyst Dr. Froilan Calilong. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us in the program Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Dr. Calilong.
Yes, good morning, and thank you so much for having me again here, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, so from a political standpoint, Dr. Calilong, how should the public assess the credibility of Zaldico's allegations, considering both his background and the timing of the expose? So this resigned lawmaker has posted in his official Facebook account the list of officials and the projects that they have projected.
Basically, this particular expose, if we may call it as such, may at the moment not bear any political weight. I mean, legal weight. But because it was not it was not stated under oath, and it was not provided or given in the right forum. But then again, when we talk about the political implications, I think this is really a bombshell of some sort.
Yeah.
Primarily because for the very first time in the duration of this particular issue, the allegations are now actually directly pinpointing to the president, particularly to Malacanang, and
Mm-mm.
I think it's in this case wherein the public perception may actually be swayed towards believing to some extent whatever he is saying. So what I'm saying is that though legally, from a technical context, it may not actually hold water, but from the perception, the political and the social dynamics, particularly as to how the people may react or may accept these allegations,
Mm-mm.
that is something that I think will have to be seen primarily because. You see, sometimes in politics, it's not really what it is. You know, sometimes it's the perception of the reality that is more important than the actual thing itself. And
Mm.
so here, the timing is also very indicative of the idea that Zaldico really would want to create something that the entire country will be talking about. And but you see, I think the timing
Mm-mm.
was actually precipitated by the fact that the president actually made a press con before these videos actually
Yes.
were given by Zaldico, you know. And in this particular press conference, I think the president was clearly alluding to the idea that it will that Zaldico is not at all indispensable, and
Mm-mm.
that he even mentioned that his passport may actually be canceled. So I think this may have precipitated the idea at the back of the head of Zaldico that I might be alone here, and that the people that are supposed to be supporting me, that are actually
Mm-mm.
supposedly my allies, I probably he was led to think that they're going to drop him like a hot potato, and so maybe that's the reason why
Mm.
he had to go out and mention the names, that
Mm-mm.
are not being mentioned in the past, particularly Martin Romualdez and of course President BBM.
Okay. So, how damaging could this expose be to, or this bombshell to the Marcos administration, and what political steps should Malacanang take to contain these fallout?
Well, if you're going to do some kind of some sort of historical referencing, and because right now many people are saying that this could be the start of a people power revolution and ousting the government. You see, in the past, I really didn't see this coming, primarily because the president is being sensitized from the issue, or at the very least, he is not being dragged into. I mean, to a great extent, he is not being dragged into the mess. But
Mm-mm.
you see, EDSA 1 and EDSA 2, they became successful primarily because the very people that are being targeted of that change was actually the president. And if this particular expose of Zaldico is directly implicating the president,
Mm-mm.
then we may see actually patterns of similarities from the first two revolutions that became successful overthrows of existing governments back in the day. So
Mm-mm.
what I'm saying is that there is definitely a big effect on the presidency and of the on the administration itself. And so I think I mentioned this in several other interviews already that the president should actually face this squarely, and that the president must be
Mm.
able, at the very least, address the people directly and explain to the public the reasons, or probably the situation, the conditionality, and to
Mm-mm.
actually refute if ever he sees it fit, the allegations that were made by Zaldico. And I think that's how it should be, because
Mm-mm.
the people are demanding, some kind of response from the president, and it's not enough that it's only the spokesperson of Malacanang or
Mm-mm.
several cabinet officials are speaking in his behalf. Because I believe that the president is the one being directly implicated here, and the
Mm-mm.
president is being the one directly being allegedly is the one being directly involved here by
Mm-mm.
Zaldico. And so he has all the mechanisms and all the resources, perhaps, to actually defend himself and explain to the public why is this
Okay.
happening. And then, of course,
Mm-mm.
side by side with this, I think what is imperative is for the investigations that are happening to take a faster course. I believe one of the reasons why the people are being led to think or doubt the very
Mm-mm.
decisiveness of the president in line with his investigations is because it really took a lot of time. It was the movement of the investigations is very sluggish amidst a growing impatience of
Yeah.
the public. And so if the president could heighten or speed up the
Mm-mm.
ongoing investigations and make sure that there are several people, especially high-ranking ones, that will be directly penalized, then I think
Mm-mm.
it will somehow serve as a way of
Mm-mm.
parang justification that the
Yeah.
public is waiting
Yeah.
waiting
That's
for
mm,
several months already.
But Dr. Kalilong, all right. So President Marcos Jr. Would not dignify the lawmaker's claim, which is a Representative Zaldico. So how can he speak regarding this issue? Uh,
Well, I think the best way is for the president to really lay down whatever it is that he understands or the things that he knew about this.
mm-mm.
Um, Zaldico's allegations are, though like I said, it may not have a legal weight at the moment, but then
Mm-mm.
again, if he will be presenting documents and if these documents will actually corroborate with some statements being made maybe by other witnesses, then it may really make the put the president in hot waters. So I think what is imperative here is for the government to come up with a calibrated response
Mm.
to actually lay down documentary evidence also that will refute the claims of Zaldico, so that at least the public perception will somehow be neutralized at this point in time. Because you see,
Mm-mm.
if this will not be addressed properly, I think the public may actually think that there is an ounce of truth in what Saldico is saying, and
Mm-mm.
then this actually may be used by the people in this mass protests. It
Mm-mm.
may create a critical mass that may prove to be powerful or decisive later on to actually make the
Mm-mm.
the necessary changes in the government. Who knows? No,
Mm-mm. Right.
because we have been through this.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we have been through this. If you're going to do some kind of historical referencing, we've been to EDSA 1 and EDSA 2, right?
Mm-mm. Mm,
Pero
right.
I am also inclined to feel and to think that if all of these things will be survived by the president, he may be able to finish his term. Why not? No, because
Mm-hmm.
again, from a historical perspective, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo was also able to survive so many protest rallies, because of the NDNCTE scandal that rocked her administration. But she was able to survive and finish her term in 2010. So it's
Mm-mm.
possible
That's right.
that the same thing could also happen to President Bongbong Marcos. But it will depend on so many variables, and
Right.
one of the key elements here perhaps is the support of the armed force of the Philippines. Same goes with the Philippine National Police,
Mm-mm. Right.
because if this sectors of the society or the country that are in charge with ensuring peace and security in the forefront of our society
Mm-mm.
will turn their backs against the president. And I think that may be a very, very vital element for a possible successful revolution. But of
Mm-mm.
course,
Okay.
we don't want that to happen. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah, yeah,
inclined to
that's right.
believe, and I don't want to think that it will happen, because
Yeah, that's
any
mm-mm.
revolution, for that matter, is going to be very disruptive to the already problematic state of affairs of the country, both
Mm-mm.
politically and economically. And
Mm-hmm.
so, if you're going to ask me, I'd rather that these things be addressed
Yeah.
properly in the same way,
Mm-hmm.
that there will be peace and proper resolution, and that
Mm-mm.
conflicts will be averted.
Well, all right. Speaking of the people's action, you mentioned Dr. Kalilong. So we have right now ongoing protest rallies that is being organized by some groups and a large religious organizations. But we'll have a discussion regarding that. But first, what does this controversy reveal about the vulnerabilities in the national budget process, especially regarding the alleged insertions in pork barrel-like practices?
Well, I think the good thing about this particular issue is that many of our countrymen are now little by little becoming more knowledgeable and more aware and conscious about how the budget is being prepared, how it is being deliberated, and how it is being enacted.
Mm-mm.
And I think this is good because I think this kind of fiscal awareness among many of our countrymen is very necessary to form a more empowered and invigorated society. So I feel that there are some reforms that could actually take place
Mm-mm.
um, with regards to the budgetary process so that insertions allegedly and insinuations of unprogrammed funds
Mm-mm.
will be a thing of the past, meaning to say it will no longer be used in the future budget creation or budget deliberation processes. So I think we could learn a thing or two from this particular incident. And I
Mm-mm.
think what is being mentioned here is the fact that there is really the practice that's being done for a very long time now. This insertions, this program budget items, I think it should definitely end. And
Mm-mm.
if we are going to have the public to be more aware and to be more enlightened and at the same time empowered to
Mm-mm.
co-create and to be vigilant, to actually be there to scrutinize the budget, I think it will lead to a better appraisal and a better
That's right.
understanding
Mm-mm.
of the budgetary process, and most likely minimization of the risk of possible corrupt practices to happen.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, this is really what we want to safeguard because this is our taxpayers' money. This
Right.
is our national coffer.
Yeah.
I can imagine the the veracity of the anger that is being felt by every Filipino, every taxpayer at at this moment,
Mm-mm.
primarily because when you see those bags and bags of money, of course you will be thinking that you're inclined to think that this is your
Yeah.
money, this is your contribution to to nation building. However, it just went directly to a person or two,
And
and that
mm-hmm.
is something that they cannot accept.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, if there will be systemic budgetary reforms that should take place and that should happen, I think we could actually learn a thing or two from this.
That's right. And also, people are participating in the discussion regarding the budget process and some other things related to that across social media. So that's a manifestation that people are participating in this kind of discussion. But of
Right.
course, Dr. Kalilong, as we know, there's political infighting. Has been ongoing since a few since this I mean throughout the Marcos Jr. administration. So, but this time in this incident, particularly the expose or bombshell of former lawmaker Zaldico, it does this indicate of a deeper political infighting within the ruling party? How could
Well,
this reshape the power dynamics in Congress?
I believe that in the Congress, when we talk about the allies of the president, I think they are still very much well within the circle of the former speaker, and I think they can be very well subdued by the president. Okay. The problem here is that, of course, when we look at the overall impact of this particular incident, okay,
Mm-mm.
and if it goes down to the level that the people will really have this dismay, distrust, disdain, and disgust over
Mm-mm.
the president, that may actually spell some kind of political storm, even
Right.
among his allies. You remember, many of these are actually elected officials. Some of them may actually run for re-election. And
Mm-hmm.
if in the 2028 elections, they will be thought of to be aligning with an unpopular president, no, given the
Mm-mm.
predicament we have right now, and if and when these allegations will be proven true. So I'm parang hypothetically telling a certain scenario. Then it might actually cause a kind of disruption among his allies
Mm-mm.
in the Congress because they also need to protect their own political capital. So
Mm-mm.
if these things did not happen, if these investigations or if this issue did not come about, I think there is without a doubt that the president will still hold a very good sway over his
Mm-mm.
allies in the Congress. And but
Mm-hmm.
true enough, these things happen,
Mm-mm.
and of course, some people are saying that the vice president may be benefiting from this.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
I wouldn't want to comment on that right now.
all right.
But I think if there will be somebody who will really benefit from this, I think it's really the public.
All
It's
right.
really the Filipino people
Right.
that's benefiting from this.
But this is what we call a political survival, Dr. Kalilong.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And the political survivability here
Mm-mm.
will be based on many different factors, like how quick will this simmer down? How
Mm-mm.
effective will the government be able to dispel the allegations? How sympathetic the public will be
Mm-mm.
in line with whatever explanation the president may be saying. You
Mm-mm.
remember Gloria Macapagal Arroyo before, she made a public address,
Mm-mm.
and she even said sorry. And I think it somewhat pacified the public during that time, in the
Mm-mm.
face of the Hello Garcia scandal. So we don't know exactly how it's going to unfold, but
Mm-mm.
for as long as the president will ignore
Mm-mm.
the calls, and for as long as the president will not face the challenge or the issue head on, then I think there might be some adverse effects of that, particularly to
Mm.
his administration.
All right. All right. We'll jump into the discussion regarding the 3-day rally of the Iglesia ni Cristo. But please hold the line, Dr. Kalilong. We'll have a very short break here on Front and
All right.
Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Mas pinadali na ang government transactions sa tulong ng eGov.ph Super App. Pwedeng-pwede mo nang magawa ang lahat ng ito. I-download ang eGov app sa iyong smartphone o tablet mula sa App Store o Google Play Store. Pagkatapos, ilagay ang iyong mobile number at i-authenticate gamit ang one-time PIN o OTP para marehistro ang iyong account. Saka ilagay ang iyong mga pangunahing impormasyon at kumpletuhin ang facial recognition technology para sa verifikasyon ng iyong pagkakakilanlan. Para sa mas mabilis at mas maayos na serbisyong panggobyerno, gamitin na ang eGov.ph Super App.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And we're now back here on Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Still with me, Jerome Toledo. And we still have on the line the political analyst, Dr. Froilan Kalilong. All right, so we're going to discuss about the 3-day rally of the one of the largest religious organization or group here in the Philippines, the Iglesia ni Cristo. So what do you make of the INC or the INC's framing this as a religious rally when many see it as a politically charged call for transparency amid the flood control corruption scandal? They're calling for transparency basically, Dr. Kalilong.
We cannot discount the fact that the Iglesia ni Cristo, aside from being a religious organization, is also a very potent, powerful political power broker in the history of our political dynamics or political environment.
Mm-mm.
In fact, in many of our elections, because of their block voting, they're
Yes.
able to really
They can really
catapult
swing votes.
candidates toward victory, right?
Mm-mm.
And I think what is imperative here is at this point is for us to be able to see. You remember the Iglesia ni Cristo supported the president in the
Yes. Right.
2022
Along with
elections,
Vice
and
President Sara.
I'm sorry.
Along with Vice President Sara Duterte.
Along with Vice President Sarda, I mean they supported the UD team, right? And
Yes,
I think
basically.
because of the things that are happening right now, this could actually tantamount to an outright withdrawal of support. But of course, in politics, there is this thin line separating the intentions and the motivations primarily.
Mhm.
And if the Iglesia ni Cristo is postulating this to be more of a rally for transparency, for good governance and accountability, yes, they may actually say this. But then again, you have to understand that rallies like this, especially those that will command a multitude of crowd, may actually spill over to something else. And true enough, yesterday, as we saw it, there were rallies that are there in the Quirino Grandstand,
Yes.
but consequently, there were also pockets of small rallies that were held in Liwasa Bonifacio. Same goes in EDSA Monument Shrine. And you see, this is a natural reaction whenever people see that there is a huge number of crowd, that are forming together to air their grievance
Right.
against the government, against the administration, or against anybody who has the power. Then it may enable them to be more emboldened,
Yes.
to be more empowered because they believe that there is strength in numbers.
Yes, that's
So
right.
what I'm saying is that this action by the Iglesia ni Cristo may actually be one of those necessary steps that they may take, not just to empower the people, but to directly criticize the current scenario and the
Yeah.
current
That
conditionalities happening in the
Right.
government.
That's right. And you mentioned about the strength in numbers because as of yesterday, the local officials recorded about 300, more than 350,000 attendees were gathered at the Quirino Grandstand. And it shows the calls for accountability and that kind of actions by the INC is enshrined in our constitution for the freedom of assembly.
Yeah. I think this is really a manifestation of our right, and this is the reason also why I believe the government should not um, create mechanisms that may instill fear and intimidation on the part of the people, primarily because this is guaranteed in the Constitution, the right to peacefully assemble. And I think for as long as it is done within the bounds of legalities, that it's being done without any recourse to violence, then I think this is something that the government should also try to see with a more open-minded demeanor, because I believe that for a democracy to thrive, I think there must be that respect, particularly of the rights of the people. For as long as, like I said, it will not test the limits of the law, and for as long as violence and the disruption to the otherwise smooth flow of lives of the majority will not be impaired, then I think this rallies, this protest is just a good manifestation of our democratic rights.
Okay, and one last point, Dr. Kalilung. So, this INC-led protest affect future political alignments or influence in national governance?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this INC led protest may affect future political alignments or influence in national governance.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. Because you see, like I said a while ago, the INC already cemented a certain kind of recognition or position themselves as effective power brokers, especially in the past elections. And of course, in a protest rally like this, which is of course being highly televised, it's being broadcasted in all sorts of media and social media. Of course, when you find people here that are attending this rally, or at least being invited to this rally, this may create some kind of parang support,
Yes.
for them, especially if this politicians or personalities may intend to run for the 2028 elections. Of course, when you see the Iglesia ni Cristo, you find there that they are very solid. At the same time, they're very decisive about what they want to happen, not only for the ranks, not only for the organization, but for the country as well. So definitely, several politicians may actually utilize this as a part of their political platform to advance their own political interests as well.
But this particular rally, Dr. Killing, just a short point here, is just for transparency calls. It could be, yeah, but some politicians may use this, but it's according to them, it's just a call or a rally for corrupt officials to be held accountable of what they're doing or
Yeah.
wrongdoings.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's really a call for transparency, for accountability. But then again, of course, heeds for transparency and accountability will always necessitate some kind of political action. It may even result in some kind of political backlash, especially if the reason or if the person in question failed to address the demands of the public, especially when we talk about justice and accountability. So it may actually be a starting point for something bigger. So again, I don't want to think, or I don't want to jump into the conclusion at this point that this particular movement may create a critical mass that may constitute a rapid uprising to some extent, because like I said, we certainly don't want that to happen.
Yes.
But for me, revolutions, they happen without any kind of plan. It's never programmed. It's so spontaneous. It just happens because the tipping point has been reached, and that the critical mass have no other recourse but to go out in the streets and try to see how they could change the system or the government. But
Yep.
of course, like I said, we'll try to see, and I hope that this 3-day rally will prove to be a very peaceful one. Just a manifestation of their should I say, this dismay with the current state of affairs, as with every Filipino who is entitled to feel that way, because we feel that we're being robbed here of our taxpayers' money, and I
Yes.
think everyone has the right to be angry. But you see that that's the idea why we are protesting.
All right.
This is the idea why we're doing these rallies,
Yeah.
because we really want to make the government understand where we're coming from as a nation.
All right, that's very well said. All right, okay, and with that, thank you so much for joining us in the program to explain and to give us analysis regarding the developments regarding the expose of the former lawmaker and the protest rallies conducted by some groups, including this 3-day rally by the Iglesia Ni Cristo. Thank you for joining us in the program, political analyst Dr. Froilan Calilong.
Thank you so much, and God bless.
And with that, we now conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service, together with our technical team headed by Miss Susan Aizon, and our wirecast, Hiro Lucero, and audio streaming, Leo Magpayo, and our intern from Technological Institute of the Philippines, Will. This is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.